Hey guys.
All right, guys. So, thank you for coming on the show. Mike and Adrian from, would you like to call the Slough Feg or Lord Weird Slough Feg? What would you like to be
I
called?
don't know.
You never know,
Your
right?
choice. Your choice.
I, I would rather call it something else completely.
Oh, right. Is it a bit of a bone of contention? Is it?
The Mike Scalzi affair.
Got the
The
Maestas like
Adrian
experience.
Maestas archetypal. Okay. Yeah.
Right. So, thank you for coming on the show. I know that you're very busy at the moment working on your new recording for it's going to come out soon. I think in January. Is that right?
Hopefully.
Well, we hope so. It should be done by then. I don't know if it'll come out then. Yeah.
Ah, well, yeah, finished by January. So it's a follow-up to
Yeah.
your 2003 Traveller. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's the one. I'm sure that's the one that everyone loves in your catalogue. I'm sure that you've got an amazing catalogue. I have actually a different album, which is my favorite one. But
Good. Yeah, same here.
yeah, yeah. I mean, my
Different
favorite
album is my favorite too.
Animal Spirits is my favorite album.
Well, that's being reissued in a few months too. Vinyl.
Oh,
Yeah. It's already
really?
been.
Fantastic, fantastic. So yeah, I love it because I just love the fact you do a cover of an Alan Parsons project, Telltale Heart.
Yeah, I dig that too. Yeah.
I dig it big time. So it's like, yeah, cool. Now, so if people don't know you, because obviously people can listen to this show may not have heard of your band before. So you've been around since the 90s, is that right?
1990. Yeah.
Yeah, 1990. Yeah.
What do you mean they wouldn't have heard of us?
Of course they have, but you know
What
what I
kind
mean.
of people do you have on your show? What do you do? Who hasn't heard of us? You know?
Yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Not being offensive.
Yeah, I think I do.
Yeah. So, because I want to spread the word, of course, this is what we're interviewing for. I want you to for people to know you and listen more to your stuff. So, so you've been around since then, and I listen to your music, and I hear a lot of new album, so a lot of new wave of British heavy metal in there. A lot of I even hear a lot of prog. I mean, would you say that is the case?
Yeah, I think so. Although I'm not a huge advocate of either style.
Yeah,
I guess I like prog, some prog stuff, but
it just hits on it because
and I like new wave of British heavy metal. I just like the big one, Maiden.
Maiden, of course, of course.
But I that's where you hear that's just all just derivative of Maiden. The new wave of British heavy metal stuff. I mean, there's not much other. Is there? I don't know. I don't.
There are, but it has different tastes and flavors like everything. But
no, I mean, what the bigger? If you hear any other bands besides early Maiden,
a little bit of Diamond Head in there. A little bit of Diamond Head, I hear.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit of Demon. A little bit of things like that. But yes, I mean, your first album.
Witchfinder.
Oh, Witchfinder. Witchfinder is good.
Witchfind.
Yeah, with the YD. Yeah. They sound a bit more Black Sabbathy, and you're not that doomy. I wouldn't say.
Well, I don't know about that. Anyway,
we will have our own way we listen to it, I suppose. But
well, I mean, if you really want to get into that influence thing, like we're not as doomy as a lot of bands that say they're influenced by Black Sabbath. But I would argue that at least the songs I write are more influenced by Black Sabbath than any other band.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah. Because there's more to Black Sabbath than being slow and heavy.
Of course, absolutely. I mean, I'm a huge Black Sabbath fan.
Early Black Sabbath, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I actually like the Tony Martin era. That's my favorite era of Sabbath.
Ooh.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, we won't
well, it was because it was the first gig I ever went to was Tony Martin, Black Sabbath.
Okay.
And so
the first gig I ever went to was the Fix.
Oh, the Fix, Double X.
So I think the Fix are the biggest influence of all on Slough Feg, and then Black Sabbath.
Wow! I would never have thought the Fix. There you go.
That's a joke. I was
going to say thank you.
I did go see the first big concert I ever went to was the Fix, but no, it did not inspire me to write.
I was going to say bloody hell. Sorry, Mike. I was like, what are you talking about?
Not the Fix.
I didn't hear that at all.
You mean this one?
Yeah.
I've only got the singles. I don't have the album. But actually, physical
I
copy.
saw them on the next tour.
Ah, right. There you go.
That album has Red Skies on it, right?
Yeah. Red Skies at Night.
Yeah. I saw them on the tour of the record that had One Thing Leads to Another, and
Yeah. I came across them by accident by picking up a single that is in a secondhand shop. when I was like 14.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this
No,
is a great cover.
Great.
Yeah.
The show was great. It was the singer came out of a coffin in the beginning.
Brilliant.
Yeah, 1983. Yeah.
Oh,
And the next concert I saw was I'm talking about big concerts.
Yeah.
I saw the Fix, and then I saw the Kinks the next year.
you lucky bugger.
I got to see the Kinks live, and but pretty close to the original, in
Wow.
1984. That was really great. That influenced the hell out of me because I was surprised that they played like a metal or a punk, but they were really loud and they used distortion. Like I didn't hear that on a lot of the older records, obviously, but they came out and just they used like full on Marshalls, and it was
wow.
Anyway.
Well, they did say that they invented the fuzz sound. That's one of those. They say that by slicing their amp speaker. I mean, that's what they say.
They invented heavy metal. It's true.
Yeah, and punk, because a lot of punk bands were very into the Kinks.
Yeah.
Because that London sound, But so we're moving on to you've had so many albums out over the years, right? You said that Traveler's not your favorite. 10. You said that Traveler's not your favorite. What is your favorite? I'm going to put you on the spot. Can you tell me what your favorite is?
Me? Are you speaking to
Mike?
Michael? Yeah. So it's hard for me to say. Probably Down Among the Dead Men.
Right.
But Twilight of the Idols is also in there. Those two, I think, are the most creative period of the band, and I think those are the best ones. If I had to say are my favorite album, go ahead.
Twilight, the Idols is my favorite.
I think Twilight is my favorite. I think Down Among the Dead Men is the best one, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It makes lots of sense. Yeah. So, so if you
Twilight is a lot of people's favorite.
Yeah, so I love Twilight. It's a great album, but I do, as I said, I just love Animal Spirits. But if you were suggesting to someone who's listening to the show and go, right, I want to listen to the band, would you say start from the beginning and work down, or is there an order you would take it in? You're suggesting?
I'd say start from the beginning.
Start from the beginning, yeah.
I tell people to start from Traveler. My girlfriend tells people to start from Animals.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
there you go. Because I think Traveler's got a far more complex sound, isn't it? Far more complex than the.
I think it's more accessible. It's more accessible to the public because it's polished and it's even sounding, and I think people like that it appeals to the masses, and so it's easier to digest as a whole, and so people starting with Traveler, that will convince them to look into the rest of the catalog.
Right. Okay. That's a good hint, because when you've got a catalog as large as yours and as complex throughout the different albums, it's nice to have a start point. I always start from the beginning and work down, but some people don't. If you recommend Traveler, then that's a good thing for them to do. Now, Traveler is based on. Yeah, Traveler is based on an RPG game, isn't it? It's based on
yes, it is.
1979. The Spinwood. There we go. I have to say that I got into RPG back in the very early 80s, 81, 82.
Go ahead, keep talking.
And I only got into it to paint the figures, to be honest with you.
To do what? To paint the figures?
Yeah, like little figures and things. My brother was a gamer. Oh. And he had all that stuff. We'd go to, there was a shop in East London that was one of the very first ones that did all the books. We used to travel across London to go to the very first, I think it was called the Dungeon, I think. And he just chew through them.
Camden? Is that in Camden?
Yes.
Camden?
Yeah.
Camden. Okay.
Yeah. My friend Benji, who's in the room over here, he's a massive Slough Feg fan. He's a big RPG gamer. He keeps asking me to go over and play. And one day I will.
He's very blurry back there. He's very vague. I can't see Benji there. I can see why you didn't want to show him.
Big ugly man. Yeah, no, the shirt he's talking about, you bugger.
He looks quite nice, actually, to be honest.
It's a great shirt. Oh, yeah. So obviously the Traveler is based on that. So how is the new one going to connect to that? Is it move on from the story? Is it a completely different?
Yes. Yeah, it does. Oh, if you'd like me to read you the synopsis, no, I should probably be more organic than that. So, all right. So you really want to know? I'll tell
Yes,
you.
I do. You want?
It's even stupider than this traveler story, though. So,
Oh.
and the traveler story is a monument of ridiculousness. So,
But it's wonderful
I
at the
mean,
same time.
well, of course, it's accessible. That's all that
Yes.
matters. No, it's true. That it's funny as far as what you guys just talked about with that, because Traveler is ironic in the sense that it's the most commercial and accessible sounding record we did. And that was actually done to some extent on purpose as an experiment. And that's why people don't usually like what I have to say about the ideas, the initial idea of the production and the songwriting in Traveler. It was an experiment into some of it pop songwriting, actually. And a lot of underground metal fans don't want to admit that they gravitate towards catchy pop sounding stuff when it comes to, as opposed to quirky, weird, but that notwithstanding, what?
That's their problem. That's what I say.
It's their problem. Yeah. So as far as that element of the original Traveler album goes, it is somewhat different. It doesn't have as much of that commercial element to it. In the music, the guitar, because when I say that I consciously meant to do this, what I mean is particularly with the production, I wanted to try an album that has slicker production than the raw records we had done before that. Not a super cheesy one, obviously, because there isn't keyboards and all that stuff, but just a more streamlined, because it's a futuristic concept. So I wanted to have the production be a little, sort of not quite as far as Maiden went, was somewhere in time as far as commercial production, nowhere near as far as that,
No.
but or the other albums after, or Seventh Son, but to go into that direction, just a smidgen further than like Down Among the Dead Men, to not be that raw. And
it was kind of a natural progression. I think it was a natural progression for you, because like the first album was like raw demos, and then Twilight was thrown together with a bunch of sessions you guys did all over the place, right?
Yeah.
And then Dead Man was more cohesive, I think, but it had kind of a darker overall sound.
Yeah.
Kind of a little bit darker guitars, a little bit crunchier. And then I think the natural progression that you were going for was like, trying to get, a better and better production to hopefully make it more accessible and, sell the millions of units and take it to the top.
Yeah.
Take it to the top, yes. What's really true is the first album that Adrian was on. So he said, I'm not going to join this band unless we take it to the top, unless we go top 40 with this. So he insisted that we have slicker production. Right. There was really nothing. No. What happened was it was a futuristic album, and I wanted to go in that direction. And yes, the further your band goes and the more money you get, the more slicker the production tends to get. So, and that's why the album after it, Atavism, sounds so raw, because we wanted to go back.
I was going to say it completely, it's a different sound. Yeah.
But as far as the concept of the new Traveler EP goes, yes. Okay. So at the end of the original Traveler album, 21 years ago. I mean, hell, I made it in 2001, but it came out in 2003. The album ends with these two, the protagonist and the antagonist, being, changed into these dog men. So it's really rather silly. And they can't change back because these spores have been released in the atmosphere that are a hybrid of these carnivore chaser stock experimentation that was put from the ancient Earth into the far future, into the stars, and they evolved into these upright, that's the idea of the Vargur, is that there was a carnivore chaser stock taken originally from Earth, like a wolf or a dog or something, and then put onto a planet. And Traveler takes place so far in the future that the idea is that it was tens of thousands or even millions of years in the future. They actually were put on a planet where they evolved into being humanoids and being able to talk. But there's still these beasts, there's still these wolf creatures. And the idea of the first record is that this mad professor finds a way to by using as the host for these for DNA, for strands of DNA, he finds these spores of sort of an algae type substance on an asteroid mining mission, and there's this bizarre outer space kind of spore on this asteroid belt that can actually house and contain different types of DNA strands and combine them and then put them into the air where you can breathe them in and it'll turn you into, it's basically a werewolf type arrangement, but in the far future. And so these two guys become like that, and then a lot of the human race becomes these wolfmen. So that it ends with the hero, Baltek Budapest, running off to a distant planet and hiding, because these race of mutants try to make him their king, their god, because he's the first one to do the transformation. And then Dr. Ricketts, Professor Ricketts, who is the antagonist, who has taken this guy who found this on an asteroid as an asteroid miner, and it mistakenly happened to him, took his genes and used them to spread it to the rest of the human race, is trying to find him. Okay, so the evil professor and all the Vargar mutants are trying to find him. And what ends up happening is this album takes place on a planet called Mithril in the Traveler universe, in the Sword Worlds, where there happens to be it's an ice planet, but there's something called the Ephemeral Glades, and that is a frozen plain over like basically a lake or something that is frozen over. But when the planet's when the temperature goes above 32 Fahrenheit, then suddenly, obviously the ice melts, and then suddenly, right then on the spot, you have this fauna and flora growing immediately. Within 24 hours, you have insects and plant life that are all growing really quickly, and weird little mammalian creatures that just evolve at light speed on this planet. And he's hiding. Baltek is hiding. Still as a wolfman, as a Vargar, he's hiding underneath there because you can't find him. You can't track him with radars or any kind of communication while it's frozen over. So when the drones that the professor is sending around the planet try to find him, they realize that the ephemeral glaze, when they change and the temperature goes below 32, then you can actually track him down there. And so the whole point is them getting down there, finding out he's there, but then the ice comes back and they have to find their way through the ice to get him and capture him. And that's what's going on in in the Ephemeral Glaze EP. Yes.
Wow. That's so cool. I can't wait to hear it. It's going to be amazing.
I wanted to it's science. It's truly science fiction. Not that I know a lot about science or botany, but I want it to be, a lot of the Traveler game is about things you find on asteroids, plant life, ecology. Okay, it's a very seemingly realistic, far future universe. So I wanted to stick with that as much as possible and make this about plant life on bizarre planets and really go for the concepts. Mission to Mithril. A lot of the concepts come from this actual Traveler adventure, and Across the Bright Faces. It's influenced by both of these.
Wow,
so.
that sounds. And it's a 5 tracks. Is it 5 tracks that you're going?
6, I think, or 6. 5 or something.
That's going to be amazing. I think if it's as good as that,
I hope so.
You sold it to me. I've already bought it already.
Well, I hope the music lives up to that excitement, because it's different. It's going to be a little different. It's going to be raw. It's going to be, well, Adrian, he wrote one of the songs, or little parts of 2 of them actually, and our drummer. Austin wrote the main riffs on a couple songs too, so there's more than just me writing this one musically.
Oh, that's going to be fantastic then. So, because I mean, that's the thing about your music. From woe to go, it changes. Like you said, you have raw, you have polished, you have all that sort of stuff. So it'll be interesting. You never stay in one lane, which is, I think,
not really. No,
and that's an important thing to be.
Maybe. You should ask Adrian. Well, Adrian, what do you think of? Because I know, obviously, I have my opinion, and I did arrange and come up with the majority of the music. But since you wrote some of it, Austin wrote some of it. What do you think the actual, not the production and all that, but the actual difference in just the songs between the original Traveler album and this? What is the main way to describe it?
God, it was so long ago at this point. I think that this album, we kind of went into it, knowing that it was going to be the sequel to Traveler. So, but also not wanting to repeat some of the things that Traveler did, but kind of where we tried to have at least some of the essence of Traveler in there.
Yeah.
So that in the sense that there's certain, I think, tempos and styles
Yes.
that we're trying to
Yeah.
achieve, but not duplicate. So
Yeah.
I think it's more a progression than a duplication, and that's why it's only 5 songs, because we wanted to cut the flab and only give you the fab.
Yep. Yeah.
Nice line.
Yeah, I mean, we wrote as much as, at least I thought, was good enough. Was enough music to tell the story, and enough to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And then at that point, I said, "Why go on? Why have a bunch of filler? You know, that's not what I
No,
want to do."
exactly.
And
Yeah.
also, what Adrian just said is there. Having said what I said about it not being the same as the other record, production wise and all that, it does have definitely some similar chord progressions and stuff that are sort of harkens back to the original album. The first song has a rhythm to it that sounds not unlike high passage, low passage, and that's intentional to sort of carry the rhythm of it. And then at the end, it reprises some of the themes of the original ones. But there's riffs in the middle of the record too that sound like they could have been on the first one. They're just done with a different drummer, a different guitar player, a different overall sound. But there are some. Well, I don't know. I'll let the listener be judge of.
I'm looking forward. I reckon you could release it in a package with the first one and the second one, and you could just play them back to back. That'd be good.
I suppose that you could do that. Yeah.
But I think it's funny that Mike mentions the drummer. We have the new drummer, Austin Crater. He's been with us for a couple of years now.
2 years now, but it's a new.
He's been a great contributor musically. But the interesting thing is, when I've been listening to the rough mixes of the new stuff, and since we're using the same studio and the same engineer, Justin Weiss, as we did on the original Traveler, the drums sound so similar.
Wow.
Because he's using he's using the same equipment, a lot of the same microphones.
Yeah.
And so the drums, a lot of the big drum fills that are on the new album, they sound like they could have been on the original Traveler. So I think having the original production team coming back together has really it's been able to it'll sound like the original Traveler.
Yeah, so it won't be disjointed. It will flow, which is what you want.
Yes,
yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted. I wanted to go back to Justin Weiss and Trackworks because he did the original Traveler. He understands the concept already, and it's very easy for him to intuit what's going on and what we're going for on this.
And he's using a lot more technology now than he was 20 years ago, but he's still able to give us the same sonic palette, I guess, that was used on the original. And so it's very continuous. You know, the original stuff was done on tape, and now this is all done on the computer.
Yeah.
But it sounds very much the same.
And that's important. So, are you obviously going to tour it? I would imagine. Are you going to tour this new EP?
As much as we can.
As much as you can.
As much as we can.
I was going to say. I mean, come to Australia. I know it's too far, but we'd love you in Australia. Come to Australia.
We'd love to come.
yeah.
All about the money, baby.
It is about money. No, I was just saying to Adrian yesterday. It's the same thing. It's a big country as well. Like, you've traveled America, you know what it's like, right? But here's a different beast. I mean, nothing for 400 kilometers, you know, like, and you've got to get there. If you fly from city to city, it costs you a fortune. If you drive it, it takes ages. It's not an easy country to tour on, but you know, the audience here would absolutely love you, I reckon. Absolutely love you. So I mean, probably
that would be great. We're going to tour in Europe for next year. You know, on this record.
Yeah.
And we're doing some stuff in America. We don't have much planned, but it depends on what we want to do. There's a couple ideas, and we're definitely doing something up in Seattle and maybe some other stuff too. We're not really sure yet.
Do you do festival? Are you a festival band? Like, would you do like Hellfest and things like that? Was that too? What is that?
They invite us.
If they invite you.
Yeah, we do festivals. Yeah.
Because
I reached out to a lot of those festivals before and never receive anything back. So,
Yeah,
We've played several festivals, obviously, but we've played the big ones like Hellfest. No, we've done what's the biggest festival we've ever done? I think is Sweden Rock.
Sweden Rock.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. That's a decent size.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really
and that
big.
was crazy. Yeah, it was a very big one, and it was. But we haven't done a lot of the other really huge ones like that.
Yeah, I think
For
you
whatever
should,
reason.
because I mean, Traveller could easily take across that. But talking about touring, how do you work out what you're going to put on your set list? Because you have so many albums with so contrastingly different themes. It must be a tricky one, right?
It's a very tricky one. And we don't always have the same opinion on what we should be doing. Yeah.
Lately, the past few years, it's not that hard because we don't have a lot of wiggle room to learn new songs because we've been working on new material, and we haven't really had time to work on adding new songs to the set list. So we're kind of keeping it slow and steady.
Okay.
We've had an issue with that, yeah, whereas we don't, as a full band, and we used to pride ourselves and would like to still on being a band that lives close to each other and that practices very often as a full band. In the last couple of years, it's been a little more difficult to do that. Now, don't get me wrong, we're not one of those bands who just never practices together as a full band. We do it. But we practice in sections, 3 of us or something, and then we all 4 of us together, hopefully once a month or something, But that's hard to work up. I mean, Slough Feg songs are not the kind of songs you can just, oh yeah, let's take this one from the back catalog and practice it twice and go on stage and do it. Most of them are not. They're very complex as far as that kind of thing goes, and they have a lot of feel and rhythmic changes and all that you can't just pull out.
You can't just sneak them out.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because your sound is that way. I can't imagine it being easy to go, well, okay, because a lot of the time,
Yeah, go ahead.
So a lot of the time, your sound sounds like there's more than you are. Than you got a fuller sound. Like the amount of people in your band, it sounds like there's double that when you listen to it. It's
well, that's
a big
nice.
sound. So I always think how you replicate that on a live stage would be difficult, I would say.
No, it's difficult, and we don't. We could never be one of those bands that doesn't live in the same geographic area. There's bands who do that, and they just have some pretty standard sounding stuff or whatever. It's all thrash by one. Not that it's all not that thrash is easy at all, but suppose we were a sort of a very sort of standard thrash band that did the drummer just has to have his double bass, and everybody kind of goes, that kind of music. Often the audience, to be honest, can't really tell very clearly what's going on. And so it's all about the energy, which is great. If the energy can be very high and it's awesome, but the precision in some forms of thrash music doesn't always have to be there as much. Besides the drumming, right? If the rhythm is on and you hear sort of the atmosphere, and someone's playing in the wrong key or something, the audience might not even notice.
No,
in fact, that's happened before. I'm sure Adrian knows that story as well. We won't get into who said what, but there's. No. I mean about a thrash band that a friend of ours played with, where that actually took place. They were they weren't even tuned to the same key, and the audience had no idea, and the people in the band had no idea. So, I mean that can happen quite easily with that kind of music for a song or so at a big festival or something where no one can hear anything anyway.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, certain types of metal, of rock music and metal, you could live in different continents and just play on tapes and get together. Just for the tour or something like that, or practice once or twice. This band could never do that. We are organic. We're an actual band that needs to be in the same room with each other to come up with these things. Certainly to write songs and also to get rehearsed. It would never work unless we were,
Well, I think that's why the sound appeals to me a lot, because you can tell when a band is particularly in the modern age. You can tell when a band is just. They're not together. There's not all that sort of like the Beatles when they used to play together. You could hear Beatles albums when they're recording in the same room. You have that feel, right? It's this day and age. I mean, I know people blame COVID and blah 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 blah, but it was going that way anyway. Sort of the digital world where you could record in America and I can do the drums in Brazil and you can do the bass in China. Just set the DAT file over and away you go. You can feel the difference with yours that it is organic and together. That saying that, Mike, I don't know how you keep your voice. I mean, when you're singing,
I don't.
Yeah, yeah. It's such a
Quite
great,
frankly, I do not keep my voice.
it's quite a distinctive voice, and I can imagine live it must be quite taxing.
It's getting a lot harder the older I get.
Mm,
And I won't lie to you, I've had trouble with, because I push very, very hard. And you could listen to my speaking voice. I sing way above
yes.
my natural voice. And I could pull it off when I was younger. But it's not as easy to do now. And doing this record and for several years now, it's been very difficult. The singing in the studio, I've had to do a lot of work. The guy I had trouble with this record. I had a very difficult day of singing about a month ago where I couldn't get anything done, and it's very stressful because there's money on the line and all that. And I had to practice, and I'm going to go practice tonight after this singing to keep my voice in shape and not blow it out when I'm in the studio.
Yeah, I hear that, like, because one of the things that Benji particularly loves is your voice. So when he listens to it, he goes, "The thing draws me into the album is your voice." My good friend Benji.
That's nice to hear, actually, because
yeah,
I definitely don't think I have a very appropriate metal voice, but maybe because of that, it makes it at least a little different than most of the bands that you listen to, I would hope.
Yeah, look, I mean, I don't believe in. I mean, I love all forms of music, everything. Punk, blues, jazz, metal, everything. Right? I don't think your voice. I don't think there's such thing as a metal voice. You know what I mean? I think what you do is appropriate for what you make, and it sits in that perfectly in that line. You can't all be Bruce Dickinson singing up or up massive high.
That's a comment. That's an interesting comment that you say that Bruce Dickinson. A lot of people talk about Bruce Dickinson like he can actually sing opera or something.
No,
he can't at all. He's talk about having no voice left. I mean, when he was,
I got a lot
in 1982, he was great, but yeah.
I said it in the show maybe last year, and the amount of feedback I got, I said he can't do it. Like the later albums, he just goes too fast for what he's trying to sing. And he's going really fast.
Yeah,
and he can't get the note high. I mean, I saw them recently, and he held the note in Alexander the Great, which was unbelievable. That's
cool. Yeah,
unbelievable. Like 22-second note he held, and I'm like, he can do it, but he can't do it. He's not 1983 anymore. You know what I mean? He's not.
Yeah, I know, and I completely sympathize. I mean, I completely feel. When I hear him, sometimes it hurts me because he has a similar issue I have. I think you get older and you can't just push. He pushes so hard, and he doesn't sing with any technique. You can hear it's all in his throat, And when I'm playing guitar and everything, I do the same thing. I sing improperly because it's very hard when you get excited and you have a guitar on and everything to use technique.
Because I mean, Rob Halford's one of the only ones I know that can sort of still hold that note. Like he can really,
Rob Halford, he can really, really sing, or he could.
Yeah,
he's on a different level. Halford and Dio and Ian Gillan are really amazing singers. I'll never be like them. I mean, and a lot of people won't be like them.
But do you want to be? That's the point. I think what you do for where you play within your band, and all the people people sing in your band as well. Like they all sing. You sing the way you should be. I don't think trying to aim for. I think where you are is perfect.
No, I never wanted to sing like Rob Halford, although I'm a huge fan of his and incredibly impressed by what he's been able to do, and Ian Gillan for that matter too, and Dio, like all the guys. But no, I don't. First of all, I couldn't. My voice is too low, and I don't have that. Those guys they're sort of a freak of nature. Those guys, and it just ain't going to happen anyway. But also, my inclination would not to be. I grew up too much in like the hardcore scene, in the first bands I sang in. So I'm not that much of a high-pitched metal singer. Even if I could be, I probably wouldn't. But I just sing the way I sing. It's a very strange thing when you think about how you sing. It's a bizarre relationship you have with how it comes out. I do have a lot of influence by people I don't sound like, and a lot of premeditation. Ever since I started singing in Slough Feg, for some reason, every time I'd write something, I would imagine, believe it or not, I'd imagine Freddie Mercury singing it. I wrote lines. Because if you're going to go for it, you might as well go for the he's the best, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
But knowing the whole time I could never sound like Freddie Mercury, but that's who I was writing in my mind, that's who was singing the songs. Now that's a really high bar to try to, that's ridiculous. So I don't try to sound like him now. I think it comes out more like, if anybody, maybe Dee Snider, but much lower and not nearly as skilled.
Yeah,
I think that's how.
much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, much better than D. Snyder.
I don't really. I'm that's okay. But,
We all have tastes. But the thing
I'll
is,
take that any day.
yeah, oh, definitely much better. Your voice, though. So, I mean, when Adrian and yourself are writing songs, do you write them because they're very wordy? I mean, they are quite wordy songs. These aren't songs that, there's lots of space between the lyric, but there's a lot of lyric involved in your songs. Do you think about that with your voice? Is that something that you think about?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I've written the lyrics of every. No, except for Uncanny, the song that Adrian sang on the last record. Otherwise, I think I've written the lyrics on every. On every Slough Feg song ever. I think
Wow.
so.
It's a lot of
Once
writing.
Except for
once in a while, the rest of us will like contribute a word or a line or two. Or
once in a while, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. Am I thinking about my voice when I write them? Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, do you
I mean,
think?
I'm thinking about.
Okay.
I'm thinking about anything I can to try to come up with something interesting to say. Quite frankly, at this point,
you thinking about?
Yeah, it's a lot of years
What?
you've been writing for.
What are you
Sorry, Adrian.
thinking about now?
Sorry, Adrian.
right now.
Yeah, what are you thinking about now?
I'm thinking about the process of thinking about writing lyrics, obviously, because I'm not distracted. I'm not thinking about parrots right now or anything like that, or
Or the weather, or whatever. Or the
I'm thinking about the
politics.
weather a little bit. Yeah,
Or the
Yeah.
politics.
I'm trying not to think about politics very, very desperately. In fact, why did you just say that? Because this whole interview, I have forgotten that it's election day.
I was saying to
you said
Adrian
that.
before you came. I was saying to Adrian before you came on, like, put your fingers in your ears and just hum for 2 days. You'll be all right. You've got really loud
absolutely.
music on. Just ignore the world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I want to ignore it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, interesting. So you've obviously had quite a few people in your band over the years, and obviously, as bands do, bands do that. That's quite common.
Yeah.
But you've really synced with Adrian, and who was the new drummer? You said his name was
Austin.
Yeah. So that's really good that you've managed to sync in and using. I would be really privileged, Adrian, if it was me on the New Traveller. Like, I'd be like, oh wow.
You'd be what?
I'd be really privileged if it was me working on the New Traveller.
Well, he was on the first one too.
Of course he was. I'm so sorry, Adrian.
It was his first record.
Old man.
But honestly, he wasn't in the same sense because Adrian joined when we were sort of in the process of writing Traveler, and really in that album, he sort of just learned the bass parts, and I guess we came up with some of the stuff when you were in the room. But I feel like a lot of it was in the process.
I just remember, like, I didn't really know any of the older material, so we didn't have we didn't have the chance to work on older material. It was like I was the new bass player. Let's make this album.
Oh, really? Yeah, I don't even remember what. So it was more like we were just when you came in, it was just like, dude, let's do this album. That was the first thing we did.
Yeah, that was the first thing we did was make the album. I mean, we rarely played older material because, and I was excited to write new material because I was like, I don't want to play these older songs. Let's play some new stuff.
As you do.
Play some new stuff, man. Let's make something. Let's create, and it worked. So here we are.
We did. We certainly did.
Carol, sorry.
I probably lost track of what the question was actually.
I was going to say that that's the thing about your albums as well, is that it's quite separated musically. Sometimes with heavy metal, you get this sort of dense sound, and you can't work out. You can't hear the bass, and suddenly you can't hear the rhythm and the hi-hats or anything like that. It just gets completely lost. But when you listen to your stuff, it's really nicely separated, particularly when you play it on vinyl.
Okay.
It separates really well. Like I can, because I'm a bass player, so I go and listen to the bass playing, right? So I go, I'll listen to what Adrian's doing, and sometimes you can't hear that.
Yeah, you can. We make sure you can hear most of what's going on. I hope,
Yeah, because it can get muddled. I mean, in this modern stuff now, it can just get so saturated that you.
I don't even know.
People, when they mix their records, they tend to overcompress everything, and so it's too much of one single sound. And, when they use too much compression on every single sound source, then the dynamics tend to be squashed. And so it's difficult on the ear to ascertain what's happening without allowing those things to go through. So, like, I listen to a lot of old records and stuff, And sometimes I feel like on the old Alice Cooper records, when you compare that to something that's like released in the past 10 years or so, the albums sound really quiet.
Yes.
Oh, well, that's for sure. Yeah,
Yes.
They sound really quiet. But when you turn it up and you crank it on your stereo, it sounds fantastic because they allowed for the peaks and valleys to stay peaks and valleys.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not all just like,
Well, I call it the CD. I call it the CD. It's the CD loudness. The problem with CDs, where they could suddenly just push the volume up on them,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and the density on them, and it just sort of destroyed, like you said, the true sound of the record, which is what you get from the early. I love my early
yeah.
vinyl.
Alice Cooper is a good example because
Mm.
Alice
Yeah.
Cooper records, if you listen to them, have an odd sound for the early '70s or the whenever they were made in the old ones that were made in the '70s. They have a different kind of a sound. They don't sound like Led Zeppelin and Deep Purple and Black Sabbath. And they don't sound like AC/DC. They have a or Aerosmith or whatever you compare them to. They have a very different guitar sounds are different. The production's a little bit different, and but they stand up because you can really hear every instrument. Like the bass. That's what is his name? Dennis Dunaway, one of
Yeah.
the greatest rock bass players ever, is probably more important to that band than either guitar player, in my opinion. The guitar playing is great, and the songwriting is great on those records. And they don't get a lot of credit for being as weird and proggy as they were on the first 2 or 3 albums. The
Oh
Alice
no,
Cooper
absolutely
records,
not.
but they really were.
Absolutely.
And the bass playing makes it. The bass play, and you can hear every note he plays. And the guitars, you can hear every note they play, and they don't sound like Marshall guitar amps. They sound like some weird, I don't know what,
Yeah.
like Fenders or high
Yeah.
or something. I don't know what they are, or maybe they're Marshalls done through weird
I-
microphones or something. I don't know.
It's probably the mics they might. I mean,
Are you guys having trouble?
No, only you.
Yeah, you're breaking up with me, Mike.
You're all right now, though.
What?
You're all right now. You're all right now. Yeah.
I'm breaking up?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. I don't know.
It's okay.
I
It's
don't
all good
know.
now. It's all good now. It's all good now. Yeah.
Yeah,
You need
okay.
to reset your modem.
Yeah. Yeah. Turn it on and off again. No. But I think the same with Thin Lizzy. I feel the same with Thin Lizzy. Their sound is the same as that early Alice Cooper sound. I feel that is the same thing with Phil Lynnett's bass. You know, without Phil,
You can hear his bass, yeah.
yeah, you know. So same with
But
Steve
the
Harris.
guitar sound is much more standard and thin. Yeah, but
Yeah. Oh yeah, Steve Gorham's Gary Moore's one of my idols. So, but yeah,
yeah.
I never got to see him live. Sadly, I never got to see him live. Yeah. What a shame. But
That's
anyway,
too
life
bad.
goes on. Life goes on. So what's next? So obviously now you're just going to go into the studio, work, finish off the album, and then out into the world. I'd imagine that's the next step for
I
you guys.
suppose.
Then lots and lots of PR. I'm sure.
I suppose. Yeah, hopefully.
Playing several of the new songs in our upcoming live shows. So,
Brilliant.
yeah. So there will be a gathering of traveler music in our new live show that we will bring out, and hopefully that will we'll make some T-shirts.
Yes.
We'll maybe make a sticker.
Yes.
And
A patch. Another patch will be good.
yeah, maybe. I don't know. Patches are quite, that's a maybe. We'll see. I don't know. But yeah, we hope to be able to tour with it more than we have on the last couple of albums, I guess. We'd like to tour more and more, but of course, we all have schedules and things like that. So we're going to do as much as we can, get it out there, and try to bring the ephemeral blades to the masses.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
I'm looking
right.
forward to it. It's going to be fantastic. I might have to take a trip to Europe if you're only playing in Europe. Oh, what a shame.
We'll be there in March. of
Oh, well, maybe no,
2025.
because I'm going to Japan in June, so we might take an extended holiday and go there in March. Ooh, that's right.
Wow. See, yeah, that's what Europeans can do. They can take extended holidays and just go all over the world. That's fantastic.
Yeah, isn't it?
Well, we'll see what happens tonight or today or tomorrow. Maybe we'll
Oh,
see
yes, you never know, do you? That's right. Yeah. But this is
Who
going
knows?
to date the video.
I'm not
All right,
even
well,
looking.
Let's not get involved. I'm not getting involved. I look the other way.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
involved.
Not looking the other way. It's interesting. for a mighty nation like yourself, for such a creative and intelligent nation, it just surprises me. You know,
It's
it just
quite
surprises me.
astounding.
It's
Well, we'll see.
it blows my mind. You know,
It blows our minds too.
really does.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Anyway, I think, I mean, I don't want to bring politics into this too much, but I think you just need to change the way your electoral system. Just go back to something else, and fix it. Because I think it's the system that's the problem.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Well, the electorate is set up the way it is because there's states like, that have they have a lot of land, but they don't have a lot of people. And so you kind of want to give them
Equal right, yeah.
Yeah, an equal say in how things go, or else California would rule everything.
Because over here in Australia, it's illegal not to vote, right? They should make that the case for you in America. Then who knows what happened then? If it was illegal, you still get people that wouldn't do it because they just wouldn't care. But you make it illegal not to vote, and you'd certainly get a different outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah. Anyway, on that note, well, thank you for coming on the show. Really enjoyed the chat. I hope that the new album is going to be a banger. I'm sure it is. I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully I'll get to Europe and see you live. That'll be good. It'd be fun.
Working on it.
We hope to get to Australia one day.
That'd be even
I
better.
hope we do get to Australia.
Yeah,
I hope so.
It's a beautiful country. Have you ever been on holiday here, or have you been just traveling? Oh, you have to. It's a beautiful country. So
we'd love to do it, man. I mean, if we could somehow make it so that we can do a week or something over there,
wonderful.
We would totally do it.
South Coast. I mean, you don't want to go. I mean, people don't go over to Perth. It's too far, mate. No one goes to Perth. It's just like 5 days travel. You just gotten down the side of the country. Sydney, Melbourne, Canberra. Brisbane, and that's it. That's what I would do.
That's a whole week right there.
There's a whole week there, and that's what most bands do. Dream Evil were just here. They did exactly the same tour. So yeah.
And then one show in New Zealand, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yes, exactly right. You just go and do I don't know, Auckland or something.
Yeah.
Because they'll all travel there anyway. It's a small country. All right. Well, thanks for coming on again anyway. And
thank you.
This will be on. This will go out next week on my show, and I'll put it up on the YouTube channel as well. And hopefully you'll get lots and lots of listens. I really hope so.
All right.
Thanks for coming on. Look after your voice. Good luck with your bass parts.
Cheers.
Okay.
Say bye, Benji. Go on. There we go.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks, man.
Love your work.
You look great. I don't know why he's fading you like that. I don't know.
Because I always do.
You're jealous. You're jealous of his face. I know. Yeah.
I am.
I know.
He's got more beard than me, and it's not grey.
I shaved. No, thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys, man. Talk to you soon. Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.